Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IS Academy. So today in this session I am going to discuss two important concepts from international relations that is important for your mains 2025 also, as well as PSIR optional students. Now what if I told you that your selfies, your voice, your voice notes, even your child's online school habits are being mined like diamonds without your permission and sold for billions? Yes, you heard that right. In this digital age, there is a new kind of empire which is rising. And it was not just fueled by the guns or ships, but by the algorithms, data, and also artificial intelligence. And that is correct also. So it is now artificial intelligence. So this is very important for your examination. And just like the old colonial powers that looted the gold, spices, cotton, today tech giants and powerful countries, they are looting something even more valuable: your data, your identity, your culture, everything. So welcome to the shadowy world of AI colonialism. अब ये जो वर्ड है AI colonialism, it was used in the news. ये काफी ज्यादा न्यूज में यूज हो चुका है. It is important for your international relations, PSIR optional, है ना, for this year 2025, then also science and tech. अब ये है क्या AI colonialism? इसको कैसे समझा जाए? बिल्कुल सिंपल वे में हम इसको समझेंगे. So AI colonialism, it is a kind of silent invasion where battlefields are digital. यहाँ पर battlefield digital है. And what is the weapon? The weapon is code here. है ना? So the battlefield is digital and the weapon is code, and the victims often don't even know that they are being exploited. है ना? So from rural India to the villages in Africa, from indigenous languages disappearing from the internet to the entire nations they are becoming dependent on the foreign AI tools. जी हाँ, this is 21st century's version of colonial rule, which is hidden behind the glossy tech and free applications. So in this video, we will break down in the simplest way possible with real life examples, shocking truths, as well as solutions that every global citizen must understand before it's too late. So stick with me, because what you are about to discover will change the way you look at very smart device you use. Now, what is AI colonialism? So what is AI colonialism? Now, first try to understand in a simple way. Imagine if someone came to your village, took your crops and used them to make money without asking you or giving you anything in return. Now, replace crops with your data, as well as money with AI system. That is called as AI colonialism. It means powerful countries today or tech companies, they use your data, use your behavior, even your language to build smart technologies, but you don't get the benefit or control over them. So the same thing, AI colonialism means it refers to the ways in which artificial intelligence technologies primarily developed by the powerful countries or corporation, and this can replicate or intensify historical patterns of domination, particularly over the global south. So let me tell you that this concept actually, it draws a parallel between the historical colonialism. Historical colonialism में क्या होता था? Where resources and control were extracted from the colonized regions, है ना? But in modern practices, जहां पर data, है ना, and technological influence जो होता है, in a similar way extracted and imposed. Clear? So what are the features? So let's try to understand the features. So core parallel, just like historical colonialism, एक्सप्लॉइटेशन ऑफ लैंड, लेबर, रिसोर्सेज का मॉडर्न फॉर्म ऑफ कॉलोनियलिज्म क्या है? डेटा को एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को, कल्चरल सोवरेनिटी को एक्सप्लॉइट किया जाता है ना? सो व्हाट आर द इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स? तो सबसे पहला जो फीचर है दैट इज डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन. अब डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन कैसे, एज यू कैन सी हियर, है ना? एआई के लिए सबसे जरूरी चीज क्या है? एआई के लिए ऑयल है डेटा. डेटा इज द मॉडर्न ऑयल, है ना? इट इज द ऑयल फॉर एआई. So AI systems often rely on vast amount of data which are frequently sourced from populations without their informed consent, है ना? Without their informed consent, and much of this data is taken from populations in global south, and this is collected without their informed consent. So this mirrors colonial resource extractions only, where local communities assets were exploited without fair कंपेंसेशन. उसका कंपेंसेशन नहीं दिया जाता था, है ना? सो पैरेलली अगर आप देखें, इट गिव्स द सेम रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ colonial plunder of natural resources and its impact, like communities lose control over digital identity as well as privacy. तो अगर हम डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं, डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन क्या है? डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन इज इक्वल्स टू डेटा लूटिंग. सेम चीज है, इसमें डिफरेंस नहीं है ना? सो इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज डिजिटल रिसोर्स लूटिंग. डिजिटल रिसोर्स लूटिंग. ओके, देयर आर वेरियस एग्जाम्पल. आज हम सभी लोग कोई ना कोई एप्लीकेशन यूज करते हैं, जैसे कि फेसबुक हो गया, इंस्टाग्राम हो गया, है ना? देन एआई एप्स हैं like chat gpt हो गया, deep seek हो गया. these app reflects your likes, your faces, your language as well as your habits. कि आप क्या सर्च कर रहे हो, किस तरह की चीजें सर्च कर रहे हो, इससे आपका टेस्ट भी समझ में आता है. now imagine a small African country or Indian village using a free AI app, and that app collect their photos, वॉइसेस और इवन हेल्थ डेटा, एंड फिर वो किसको भेजते हैं? यूएस, चाइना जैसी बड़े बड़े कंट्रीज को, एंड देन दे यूजेस इट टू इंप्रूव देयर ओन एआई मॉडल्स. जस्ट लाइक हाउ ब्रिटिश कॉलोनियल रूलर्स जो थे, दे टुक आवर कॉटन एंड स्पाइसेस फ्रॉम इंडिया विदाउट पेइंग फेयरली. सो टुडे कंपनीज, आज की जो कंपनीज है वो हमारा डेटा लेती है इन एक्सचेंज फॉर फ्री सर्विसेज. तो सेकंड फीचर क्या है? कल्चरल हेजेमनी. अब ये कल्चरल हेजेमनी कैसे? तो कल्चरल हेजेमनी अगर मैं आपको बताऊं तो एक सिंपल सी चीज है, वन साइज फिट्स ऑल. वन साइज फिट्स ऑल. जी हां, कैसे? सो वन साइज फिट्स ऑल, दैट इज एआई मॉडल, सभी के लिए, हर तरह के लोगों के लिए. एग्जाम्पल, वॉइस असिस्टेंट. बहुत सारे लोगों के पास आईफोन होगा, है ना? बहुत सारे लोग एंड्रॉइड यूज करते हैं, है ना? नाउ वॉइस असिस्टेंट आजकल आ गए हैं फोन में, लाइक सिरी, एलेक्सा. दे अंडरस्टैंड अमेरिकन इंग्लिश परफेक्टली, बट दे स्ट्रगल विद अफ्रीकन एसेंट्स और रूरल इंडियन डायलेक्ट्स. व्हाई? Because those AIs were trained mostly on Western voices only as well as language styles. So, अब जब AI हमारी language नहीं समझ पाता, so when AI does not understand you, it is not just a tech issue, it is a cultural one. Your local language or tradition is invisible to AI. तो इसी बेसिस पर वो क्या करेगा? वेस्टर्न कल्चर, चाइना की चीजें को प्रमोट करेगा. कल्चरल हेजेमनी. So AI technology is predominantly developed in Western context. It may embedded and you can say propagate Western values only. They propagate Western norms, Western language only, है ना? So when these technologies are deployed globally, then in that scenario what happen? They can overshadow and marginalize the local culture, and in this way their knowledge system, है ना? Their knowledge system you can say, and they spread their own culture, which is called as cultural imperialism. So this resulted into a form of cultural imperialism. Okay, so the most important example is English only interfaces Western centric ethics in AI models. Then third feature is economic dependence. Now economic dependence is like a digital slavery. Is it like a digital slavery? है ना? Now सबसे पहले मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूं. A country wants to use AI in farming or education, but it must pay foreign companies like Microsoft or Google को pay करना पड़ेगा for their tools. Now they don't have the money, skills or servers to build their own. Now अब इससे क्या होगा? This creates a new kind of dependency. Just like during colonial times, जब colonies they had to depend on the British Empire for factories, for education as well as railways. So इसी तरीके से AI भी क्या कर रहा है? इकोनॉमिक इंडिपेंडेंस ला रहा है. कैसे? समझिएगा इस चीज को. डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज दे मे बिकम रिलायंट ऑन AI टेक्नोलॉजीज as well as infrastructure which is provided by the foreign entities, है ना, which limiting their ability to develop the indigenous technological capacities and maintain the sovereignty over their digital economies. So most AI tools platform कहां से आ रहे हैं? US, EU and China. Developing nations they have lack homegrown alternatives, indigenous alternatives नहीं है. They are becoming dependent on imported AI services. Impact क्या हो रहा है? Loss of technological sovereignty. We are becoming more dependent on the foreign countries for AI, and barrier hinders local innovation. इससे local innovation नहीं होगा. Then control over digital economy. So why it matters? Let me tell you. If we are not careful, then AI will become a tool that deepen the inequality. जी हाँ. In this way, the rich countries will get smarter and richer and more powerful, and the poorer countries will just keep giving away the data and buying back the AI at a higher price. है ना? तो आप देख सकते हैं इसके इंप्लीकेशन क्या है ग्लोबल साउथ पर. लॉस ऑफ ऑटोनॉमी ओवर डेटा एंड कल्चर. डिजिटल डिवाइड काफी ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगी बिटवीन ग्लोबल नॉर्थ एंड ग्लोबल साउथ. देन न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ एक्सट्रैक्टिव कैपिटलिज्म. दिस विल बी कंसीडर्ड एज डिजिटल कैपिटलिज्म. देन reproduction of global inequalities in digital era. So basically AI colonialism क्या है? AI colonialism is like a digital version of old colonialism. They take your data, they give you their rules and sell you your own future. आपको आप ही का फ्यूचर बेचते हैं. तो अब इन चीजों पर क्या किया जा सकता है? What can be done? In this way, countries can demand data rights and a fair AI policies. Then local AI innovations in India should be there. Africa, local AI innovation should be there in Africa as well as Latin America. These things should be respected, है ना? So we need global AI ethics to stop this form of, or you can say we need to stop we need global AI ethics, है ना, ताकि इस चीज को बंद किया जाए, एक्सट्रैक्शन को बंद किया जाए, एक्सप्लॉइटेशन को बंद किया जाए, from becoming another chapter of history repeating itself. Now, so this is about the AI colonialism. This is important for your international relations as well as PSIR optional students. Now, what is strategic culture? Another concept in IR which is important for this year in mains 2025. As you can see here, strategic culture theory, international relations framework, and how historical, cultural, political as well as ideological elements they shape a nation's use of force and strategic behavior. So what is strategic culture? So अब इस चीज को सोचिए और समझिए ये है क्या. सबसे पहली चीज तो है ना, just think of it like a country's security personality. कंट्री की सिक्योरिटी पर्सनैलिटी कैसी है ना. चलो एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल लेके समझते हैं. Just like every person has a way of reacting to the problems based on their upbringings, based on their values, based on their past experiences. Similar way, countries also have their own style when it comes to security, when it comes to war, when it comes to diplomacy. This is called as strategic culture. It is a framework. इसी को हम बोलते हैं स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर की हर सिचुएशन में कंट्री किस तरीके से रिएक्ट करता है, उस कंट्री को उसका स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर कहा जाता है. So this is called as strategic culture. So it is a framework which says that a country's behavior in a war, in a peace and diplomacy, which is shaped by its history, culture and values. तो यहीं से एक टर्म आया आईआर में which is called as strategic culture theory, है ना. So it is a framework in international relations that explains how state historical experiences, cultural traditions, then political institutions as well as ideational values shapes its approach to strategy, security as well as use of force, है ना. तो इंडिया इसका एक सबसे अच्छा डायनेमिक केस है फॉर इवॉल्विंग स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर. हाउ इंडिया इवॉल्व्ड इट्स स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज हिस्टोरिकल फाउंडेशन. अब इंडिया का स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर कैसे बना? हिस्टोरिकल फाउंडेशन, है ना. सो as you can see here, Gandhian non-violence, moral resistance in use of force, that is satyagrah, है ना. Now traditionally India's strategic culture has been described as Gandhian and non-violent, which was shaped by, है ना, shaped by Kautilya's Arthashastra also, dharmic worldview also. तो इंडिया का strategic culture was shaped by Gandhi and his thoughts. It was shaped by Kautilya's Arthashastra. Now Gandhi's non-violence based on idealism, Kautilya's Arthashastra based on realistic tradition of statecraft and espionage. Then dharmic worldview, emphasis on righteous conduct and ethical governance. And then Nehruvian idealism, non-alignment, faith in global institution and disarmament advocacy. Now, तो ये जो इंडिया का स्ट्रैटेजिक कल्चर है, it is the story of a transformation, and India is a greatest example of how strategic culture is not fixed. It evolves with time, experience and necessity. अब इंडिया का जो स्ट्रैटेजिक कल्चर, इंडिया का जो व्यू था 1947 में, आज 2025 में पूरी तरीके से चेंज हो गया. So it evolves with time, experience as well as necessity, है ना. तो जो पास्ट है, फर्स्ट थिंग इज आइडियलिस्ट एरा. जी हाँ, first thing is idealist era. So as you can see here, historical foundation. So this is the first stage which is called as idealist era. What does it mean? Just imagine kariye that India after independence full of hope, idealism and Gandhian values, and it believed in non-violence, global peace and cooperation. But it was not at all soft. India soft kabhi nahi tha. India also had Kautilya's Arthashastra, which was an ancient manual on statecraft and espionage, which talks about war. That is why Kautilya is called as India's own Machiavelli. तो अब अगर मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल के साथ इस चीज को समझाऊं, नेहरू wanted to keep India non-aligned but not part of any military camp during the Cold War era. नेहरू नॉन अलाइनमेंट चाहते थे और लाए भी, but he did not want that India should be a part of any military camp during the Cold War era. That is why India avoided building nuclear weapons or becoming aggressive. So the world, अब वर्ल्ड का पर्सपेक्टिव क्या हो जाएगा इंडिया के लिए? World thought that India was more of a peace-loving philosopher than a strategist. फिर वहीं पर टर्निंग पॉइंट आ गया. अब सिचुएशन चेंज हो गई. आफ्टर 1998, पोस्ट 1998 स्ट्रैटेजिक शिफ्ट, है ना, पोस्ट 1998 स्ट्रैटेजिक शिफ्ट विद रेस्पेक्ट टू पोखरान 2 न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट. This was a turning point in 1998. This was a big shift, and this has sent a clear message to the world that we want peace but we are not weak. हम पीस चाहते हैं बट हम कमजोर तो बिल्कुल नहीं है। क्लियर? दैट इज अ मूव फ्रॉम आइडियलिज्म टू रियलिज्म, असर्टिव डिटरेंस पोस्चर, जिसको हम क्या बोलते हैं, असर्टिव डिटरेंस पोस्चर। Clear? So there are various examples also. So this era marked the beginning of realism, being practical and assertive in defense. So there are various examples. So after 1998, India started building a credible nuclear deterrent, and India said that we will not attack first, but if attacked, we will hit back hard. और यही हुआ ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में, न्यूक्लियर पॉलिसी को लेकर नहीं, जो टेररिस्ट अटैक। समझ में आ रहा है? सो दिस वाज द शिफ्ट इन पोस्ट 1998, दैट दिस न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट मार्क्ड अ शिफ्ट टुवर्ड्स रियलिज्म एंड असर्टिव डिटरेंस, है ना? तो अब क्या हो गया, नाउ रियलिज्म, भी हम इस चीज की भी बात करेंगे, है ना? तो आप देख सकते हैं, देन इंडिया डिक्लेयर इटसेल्फ अ न्यूक्लियर वेपन स्टेट, एंड इंडिया का ग्रेटर एम्फेसिस किस पे आ गया आफ्टर 1998, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, सोवरेनिटी एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी। ओके, नाउ करंट स्ट्रेटेजिक पोस्चर क्या है? नाउ आज हम कौन सा, आज इंडिया का, इफ यू से 2025, सो फ्रॉम 2014 टू 2025 की अगर हम बात करें, टुडे इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर इज रियलिज्म प्लस कॉन्फिडेंस, रियलिज्म प्लस कॉन्फिडेंस। जी हां, कैसे? इफ यू सी फास्ट फॉरवर्ड टू टुडे, you will see that India's strategy has matured into something more balanced and robust. Now China's border clashes, बहुत सारे एग्जांपल है, China threat like border clashes like Galwan in 2020, this have forced India to be more alert, more prepared. So India is also reforming the military, creating structures. तो इंडिया ने रिफॉर्म किया अपने मिलिट्री को, इंडिया हैज क्रिएटेड institutional structure like CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, है ना, as well as theater command, so the army, navy and air force can work together smoothly, है ना? Then infrastructure push along LAC. Now today if you see Pakistan deterrence, Balakot strike 2019 and focus on swift, precise and retaliation, है ना? देन मिलिट्री रिफॉर्म्स, डॉक्ट्रिनल चेंजेस आ गए, चीफ ऑफ डिफेंस स्टाफ की पोजीशन बनाई गई, थिएटर कमांड प्रपोज, इंडिजिनस कैपेसिटी पुश, मेक इन इंडिया डिफेंस। अभी का एग्जांपल दे सकते हो 2025, अ न्यू फैक्ट्री व्हिच इज सेट अप in UP for BrahMos, where India and Russia, they are going to jointly produce BrahMos in the name of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, है ना? So emphasis on jointness, long-term planning as well as modernization. Today, India is also looking towards Indo-Pacific as well as Act East policy. So India is looking towards eastward with its Act East policy, and India is playing a bigger role in Indo-Pacific region also. Quad countries like Japan, Australia, then US and India. So today India's engagement with ASEAN, Japan, Australia, then Quad grouping US, India, Japan, Australia, then India का focus किस पर है? India's focus is on rule-based Indo-Pacific order. So that is why, if I give you the examples, so India joined naval exercises like Malabar, है ना? Malabar exercise to strengthen the ties with key Indo-Pacific allies. And India has also strengthened ties with Southeast Asia to counterbalance the China, है ना? So maritime domain awareness and capacity building, these are the strategic cultures. Now another important thing here is current posture क्या है इंडिया का, है ना? Now current posture, now there is a debate, does India have a strategic culture? तो सबसे पहले मैं आपको एक चीज बता दूं, current posture if you see, बॉर्डर टेंशन विद चाइना अभी हमने डिस्कस किया, देन डिफेंस रिफॉर्म की इंडिया ने CDS की पोस्ट बनाई। तो अब सवाल ये होता है that does India have a strategic culture? Did India ever have strategic culture? तो अब आइए समझते हैं that did India have ever strategic culture? Back in 1992 की अगर हम बात करें, an American scholar जिनका नाम है जॉर्ज तनहेम, 1992, and he belongs to रैंड, है ना. Now he said, अब इन्होंने क्या कहा था, he famously said that India lacks coherent strategic culture. ये इन्होंने आर्ग्यू किया था. इन्होंने क्या कहा, that India does not really have a strategic culture, but now Indian experts like, as you can see here, Bharat Karnad, Rajesh Rajgopalan, है ना, these scholars. तो आज Indian scholars का कहना क्या है? Today Indian experts like Bharat Karnad and Rajesh Rajgopalan, they strongly disagree with this. They say that India's strategic culture is evolving from idealism in 1947 to pragmatism. That means from soft talk to smart action, है ना. So he argued that India, तो तनहेम ने क्या कहा था, जॉर्ज तनहेम ने, that India lacked a coherent strategic culture, and this view is now being contested. किसने कंटेस्ट किया? जो इंडियन स्कॉलर्स हैं, भारत कर्नाद, राजेश राजगोपालन, दे आर्ग्यू दैट इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर इज इवॉल्विंग टुवर्ड्स द प्रैग्मेटिज्म एंड रियल पॉलिटिक. सो अब इन स्कॉलर्स ने क्या कहा कि इट इज इवॉल्विंग, है ना, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन प्रैग्मेटिज्म एंड रियल पॉलिटिक. सो इंडिया का स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर शिफ्ट टुवर्ड्स प्रोएक्टिव डिप्लोमेसी एंड मिलिट्री प्रिपेयर्डनेस. So let me tell you that they said that India's strategic culture is not static. It is shaped by ancient traditions as well as philosophical legacies, post-colonial idealism, geopolitical postures, as well as external threats. And that is why today India is reflecting a hybrid strategic culture. जी हाँ, आज इंडिया का कौन सा strategic culture है? It is the hybrid strategic culture. That means normative roots are also there, plus realist adaptations are also there. Moral vision is also there. Strategic assertiveness is also there. So overall, if we see that India का जो strategic culture है ना, it is like a growing tree which is rooted in old wisdom but branching out in a new direction as the world changes. And that's what makes India not just a player but a thinking player in global politics. And that, my friends, is the untold story of India's evolving strategic mind. It is a journey that started with non-violence and idealism, passed through the fire of nuclear assertion, and today is now standing tall on the global stage with identity, with clarity, with confidence and capability. India, once seen as a philosopher nation lost in moral debates, India is now writing a new chapter, one where wisdom walks hand in hand with weapons, where diplomacy sharpens with edge with defense, and where the soft power of Buddha meets the hard realism of Kautilya. तो अगर इंडिया में बुद्धा भी है तो कौटिल्य भी है ना. So from the heights of Himalayas to the depth of the Indo-Pacific region, India's message is clear now, that we seek peace, but we will not be passive. We value dialogue, but we are ready for the deterrence also. We stand for the rules, but we are not afraid of power. So as the world moves into the era of seeing alliances, rising threats, as well as new Cold Wars, India's strategic culture may very well become one of the defining narratives of 21st century, blending with ancient philosophy with modern pragmatism, and it is becoming a model for emerging powers everywhere in the world. So the next time when someone says that does India really have a strategy, then share this video and say not only does India have a strategy, it has one rooted in 2000 years of civilizational thinking, and it is evolving faster than the world can predict. So share this knowledge, share this video, spark our debate, and let's bring the world's attention to a story that has been hiding in the plain sight. because understanding India's strategic culture is not just about the military and politics. It is about the decoding how civilization rise, adapt, and lead. So like, comment, and tag someone who still thinks strategy only lives in the West, because it is the time that world understand Bharat is not just reacting to the world, it is shaping it. So this is all about strategic culture theory as well as AI colonialism, which is important for your PSIR optional mains paper 2025 as well as IR in GS paper 2 mains examination. Now, before winding up this session, let me tell you, UPSC PSIR optional classes at Legacy IS Academy is going to start from 26th of August 2025, and timing will be 1:30 to 5:30 p.m. and admissions lines are open now. You can enroll yourself and take all the benefits with respect to PSIR optional subject. यहाँ पर मटेरियल का सबसे बड़ा रोल नहीं है, मटेरियल कैसा होना चाहिए, क्रिस्प होना चाहिए, कितना पढ़ना है, उसका रोल सबसे ज्यादा बड़ा है. So registration lines are open. So you can call on this number 9606900004 for admissions in PSIR optional subject as well as GS Foundation course mentorship program for the students who are preparing and who are willing to prepare for UPSC 2026 to 27. Thank you so much.